The Arctic. It's a place of phenomenal beauty. Majestic landscapes cloaked in snow and ice. Bizarre formations frozen for the season. It's also a world of harsh extremes, perpetual darkness in winter, constant daylight in summer, landscapes rocked by horrific blizzards one season turn to color in another. And throughout the year, an amazing array of creatures go about their life. They've adapted to a remarkable part of our planet. And yet, as pristine as the Arctic appears, all is not well. Never before has the far north been subjected to so many environmental crises. There's the ozone layer, now being seriously depleted. In both the air and in the water, industrial contaminants are threatening local populations and the ecosystems on which they depend. And global warming, induced by the greenhouse effect, is having visible repercussions. Many glaciers are now in catastrophic retreat. This global warming, as scientists warn us, is felt most acutely in the polar regions. And with the polar ice masses melting and the permafrost continuing to thaw, more than species and populations are at risk. Entire ecosystems are being affected. The impact on societies around the globe will be profound. This, then, is the story of the Arctic today. The spectacular frozen top end of our planet. The hardy wildlife that lives within it, and the very real threats to both. In this wildest Arctic. The frozen north of our planet covers a bewildering array of conditions and landscapes. Bordering the vast Arctic Ocean are countries and cultures as diverse as Greenland and Canada, through to Alaska, Siberia, and northern Scandinavia. One creature that flourishes right across these icy extremes is of primeval appearance. Draped in long, shaggy hair, the musk ox at first appears tranquil. Especially now, in the bitter depths of winter, when they remain stationary for long periods to conserve energy. With temperatures way below zero, and in winds of vicious ferocity, even the hardiest of Arctic creatures, like polar bears, will retreat to shelter. But not so the hardy muskox. They alone will stand stoically in the open, insulated by a double set of hair. Muskox are the only large mammals that can live all year round in the same territory. Massive vegetarians that forage for lichens and mosses and frozen plants when thick snow blankets the ground. But as tranquil as muskox first appear, they in fact are anything but docile, especially when the males are rutting. It begins with one bull challenging another for control of the herd. At first, the challenged bull simply runs off to avoid confrontation. As the anger intensifies, the bulls come together, head on. It all takes on the aura of a ritual. Shaking their bodies, swinging their heads. As they become more enraged, they back up still further, inflicting maximum pain as they crash head to head. Yet despite this ferocious behavior, the muskox came perilously close to extinction, hunters wiping them out in Alaska. Hunting has since been banned in many countries and herds reintroduced, with healthy populations of muskox now existing once more across the Arctic. It's midwinter, and the frozen north is turning on its harshest face. Such conditions are perfect for that ethereal feline of the woods, the lynx. Distinguished by pointed tufts of hair rising from its ear tips, the lynx at first appears like a large docile cat. In truth, they're cunning predators. Equipped with long legs and very big feet, they track across thick snow with ease. This one has spotted a small squirrel. Instead of eating it straight away, he prefers to play with it. With even hungrier competition, it's not a smart tactic. The battle for possession is truly on. Today, the intruder wins, stalking away to devour its prey at leisure. Watching all of this, a lone snowshoe hare. They and rabbits are a favorite for the lynx. The big cat kills his victim by jumping on its back and biting its neck before tearing it to pieces. Lynx kittens grow very quickly. This mother has given birth to 2 kittens in late spring, and all 3 now spend healthy portions of each day grooming one another. As if imitating the muskox, these youngsters indulge in some headbutting, but in this case, it's strictly play. When the Arctic turns on its most forbidding blizzards, the grey wolves are at their most united. Travelling in packs, these intelligent, social wild canines make a powerful hunting team. Alone, they're still a formidable force. This lone wolf has picked up the scent of a goat. He's quick to knock it down, more cautious to tear it apart. The initial approach is on the goat's soft rear underbelly. The rest of the pack are not far behind. One by one they approach. What follows is a massed feast on the goat's carcass. Then, with much of the body dismembered, the remains are carried away. It's over this last supply of fresh meat that tempers flare. The final ritual in this process of slaughter is to clean themselves in the snow. A smaller but equally energetic canine that's adapted to the frigid far north is the Arctic fox. In the whitest of landscapes, his snow-white fur provides a perfect camouflage. Through the depths of winter, Arctic foxes can be spotted running long distances in search of food. Amazingly, this is an animal that changes colors with the seasons. As this group demonstrates, in winter, some of them wear a coat of light grey. Even the whitest of them will turn to brown in summer to blend with their environment. Alone or working in packs, they'll scavenge whatever animal or vegetable material is available. And when they're satiated, they'll often burrow underground or find shelter under ice to seek refuge from the elements. One Arctic resident that at first appears to be very shy is the wolverine, the largest member of the weasel family. In fact, they're extraordinarily fierce and cunning. Wolverine will stalk much larger animals like caribou and mountain sheep, even moose, and have been known to climb into trees to drop onto their prey. While they're ruthless killers, they're so feared by other animals that nothing will attack them, not even bears. That knowledge has made them fearless, and it's not uncommon to see them playing in the snow without a care. However, the same fur this wolverine is taking care of is also highly valued by man. The fur is renowned for its protective and insulating qualities, which is why hunters to this day still pursue them so remorselessly. Another Arctic creature that can still be hunted legally lives here. Midway between Scandinavia and the North Pole, in the ruggedly spectacular island group of Svalbard. The Svalbard reindeer is much shorter and stockier than its southern relatives, having adapted to tolerate severe cold and sparse vegetation. Even with shorter legs, these reindeer still find it difficult to move on the ice. Overhunting was driving them towards extinction, and while hunting was banned for a period, locals can now be issued permits for limited hunting each autumn. Rather than living in herds, Svalbard reindeer travel in small flocks, surviving on lichen and moss that grows beneath the snow. Today, their population stands at just 10,000. It's the highest peak in North America, Mount McKinley, a mountain the Athabascan Indians call the Great One. McKinley overlooks an outstanding wildlife refuge, the Denali National Park, which shelters a huge array of birds and animals. Alaska's national bird, the ptarmigan, can be found here, partridge-like grass that change their plumage to white in winter. Hair-like feathers cover their feet, enabling them to walk in the snow. And to eat, they find nourishment by browsing in trees, pecking away at bark on the branches. Several species of squirrel also live across the Arctic, all of them cheeky and noisy. North American red squirrels are both inquisitive and agile, and can be found throughout the pine forests. During winter, they'll munch away on the large collections of pine cones they've habitually stored. They're one of 37 species of mammals found in Denali, with the biggest and most impressive, the grizzly bear. As winter's snow gives way to spring's warmth, the grizzlies can be found with their new progeny. Mother has given birth in February, the cub now 3 months old and very playful. Not every cub is so lucky. Adult male bears in Denali have been killing off a high percentage of cubs, even their own offspring. This young cub is still suckling, but he's in the process of being weaned. In the few days our cameraman tracked him, the cub followed his mother's lead and started to eat his first shoots of grass. In this period of rapid growth, he's developing many of the skills he needs to survive alone. His hunting skills are being honed by chasing games, like this one being played out with a black-billed magpie. Just how large he'll grow is demonstrated by this family. The two cubs are just over 1 year old, and already they're approaching their mother's size. Once he's fully grown, our young cub will be the largest carnivorous land animal in the world. They're a magnificent creature, feared and revered. Regrettable, then, that hunters have made them almost extinct in their former territories, which extended down into Mexico. Thankfully, they're legally protected around Denali, allowing spring cubs like this to display their boundless capacity for play without fear of attack. Playful as they are at this stage of life, once they're fully grown, their instincts are far more savage. This female moose is fleeing for its life. The grizzly in pursuit cares nothing that it's crossing Alaska's busiest highway. Today, the moose escapes, but such chases are often fatal. Grizzlies usually target female moose, particularly now in spring, when they're trailed by a vulnerable calf. This mother and offspring have survived a season of slaughter that has seen dozens of other moose calves killed. The Alaskan bull moose is by far the world's largest deer, weighing as much as an average car. Those huge antlers are so impressive. Moose have been widely hunted and virtually eliminated from the southern part of their range in both North America and Europe. Now they're generally protected, roaming large distances to earn themselves the reputation as nomads of the north. On the move, they're a creature for humans to avoid, particularly any female moose which feels its calf is threatened. Right across the Arctic, spring is now in full bloom. This is a time of new life, that brief period when most species give birth to maximize their chance of growing before the next winter. The Dall sheep have just had their lambs. They're the only white, wild sheep in the world, and in Alaska, it's not uncommon to see ewes being trailed by up to 3 lambs. In spring, they'll walk well above the tree line in search of succulent new growth. Mother raccoons are also busy caring for their newborn. This delightful litter of 3 is foraging with mother for crabs. They delight in hunting near water, where they can engage in their curious habit of washing their food before eating it. Inquisitive, methodical, and intelligent, raccoons are still to this day trapped extensively for their fur and flesh. Spring not only heralds new life, like this baby Sitka deer, it also heralds a feeding frenzy. Right across the Arctic, grass frozen over by heavy snow is sprouting again, and animals of all kinds are making the most of it. From giant elk shedding their winter coat, to the marmot feasting on spring vegetation. They're strictly vegetarians, but not so the European weasel. Swift and agile, they're renowned for pouncing furiously on any living creature. They're voracious carnivores, well known for taking on animals much larger than themselves. Having killed this bird, the weasel will maneuver its body into a hole to tear it apart. The master carnivore in the Arctic, of course, is the brown bear, the coastal version of the grizzly. They grow much larger than their inland cousins, due to their ability to feast on huge quantities of salmon each summer. Tensions are high when they challenge for the best fishing position. The interloper is the one to give ground. At the height of summer, bears will position themselves wherever there's running water in a bid to ambush the salmon. The annual feast they're waiting for will last for just a few short weeks as the salmon swim upstream to spawn. At first, it's a frustrating affair, as salmon after salmon leap right past them. Some bears have become inventive, searching wherever they think the salmon could be waiting. Many will immerse themselves. While others find success simply leaping into shallows alive with thrashing fish. But it's the bears on top of a small waterfall that find greatest success. Salmon after salmon literally leaping straight into their mouths. For the younger bears, there's still a lesson to be learned. catching is not necessarily keeping. Most, though, will keep a firm grasp on their catch. The orgy of gorging has begun. It's now 6 months since the brown bear cubs were born. Already they've put on substantial weight and have begun to travel further and further in search of sustenance. With the salmon having completed their run, Mother has reverted to grazing on grass. But as large as they are, the two cubs continue to suckle. Right across the Arctic, brown bears are enjoying the short summer warmth. Some find amusement harmlessly sparring with one another. Bouts like this create quite a thirst. While for the two cubs, life at the top of the predation ladder means they can rest without fear of attack. As the brief Arctic summer draws to a close, there's a flurry of activity before the onset of winter. Many species of birds have laid their eggs and are now busy maintaining their nests. That most diligent of aquatic rodents, the beaver, has constructed new lodges of sticks and mud. So protective is this beaver of his home that he patrols it relentlessly, as if he's guarding it. From time to time, he'll flap his thick tail and dive. Highly prized for their fur, beavers have been killed in huge numbers by trappers. Another summer spectacle to behold is the migration of caribou. Huge herds of them can be seen walking long distances between their calving grounds and winter rutting areas. Right across the Arctic, from Greenland to North America, 30 major herds have been identified. In all, some 2 million caribou are on the move. These calves, born just 1 month ago, are already old enough for the long trek across the tundra. They're still very vulnerable to attack, grizzlies claiming many of them. The bear gives chase. The caribou are spooked, running en masse to escape. Just how huge and menacing the bear is becomes apparent when it stands to get a better view of his quarry. Today, the caribou run clear of their predator, crossing a river to distance themselves. Often, though, deep water and fast-flowing currents will claim their own victims. For the next month, the caribou will walk for most of their waking hours, an annual pilgrimage back to their winter breeding grounds. Off the Arctic coastline, aquatic creatures are equally as active. Stellar sea lions are at play. Communal creatures that not only swim together, but haul out and huddle alongside one another on their island rookeries. On ice floes, families of harbour seals are taking refuge. All around them both, the world's fastest marine animal, the Dall porpoise, swims. They're capable of speeds of up to 30 knots, which is just as well when they're confronted by killer whales. A pod of 8 killer whales has found an even bigger school of Dall porpoise. The water turns white as the whales move in, and the porpoise try to avoid them. Both species are coloured black and white, although the whales are much larger and more threatening. These whales really are killers, known to tear porpoise apart if they can catch them. It's an amazing display, one that lasts several hours and only ends when the porpoise eventually outswim the killer whales. During the Arctic summer, humpback whales are also highly visible. Having just completed a long migration, they're in the mood to cavort. It's in the waters of the Arctic that they also display their very successful fishing technique. It's known as bubble netting. Several humpbacks at a time break the surface together, their mouths agape, to swallow hundreds of fish at a time. Before each of these catches, the humpbacks will have swum up under the school of fish, releasing bubbles simultaneously to surround and trap the fish. It's a process they repeat time and again, slowly decimating the school of fish as they satiate their own massive and voracious appetites. One species that was almost hunted to extinction is the sea otter. A ban on hunting means they're enjoying a remarkable comeback, particularly along the Alaskan coastline. Where most wild animals stop playing once they become adults, not so the sea otters. Feeding is something they accomplish laying on their backs, breaking open giant muscles and tearing away at the flesh. To keep warm, they'll often wrap themselves in kelp. And to rid themselves of irritating sea lice, they'll scratch furiously. Mating occurs on the water's surface, the results of which are a litter of between 1 and 5, carried by mother until they're quite mature. All around the Arctic oceans, a whole range of birds are remarkably active. Brightly coloured puffins can be seen nesting alongside the water, where they'll lay a single egg. Known as sea parrots, the puffin is easily identified by its colourful compressed beak. On the wing, they can often be seen flying with several small fish in their beaks. And on the water, they'll group together in colonies. Puffins are among a number of Arctic birds which use their wings to propel themselves deep below the surface in pursuit of fish. Another notorious diver is the surf scoter. These migratory birds will all dive one after another in their quest for mussels. Half a minute or so underwater, and they all resurface together. But if any bird can claim itself emperor of the Arctic, it's the bald eagle. Wherever there's a group of small fish, the bald eagles will congregate, swooping together on a massed fishing hunt. With their talons extended, they swoop, scooping the fish straight out of the water. They actually eat their fish while they're still flying. Even the juvenile eagles take part, joining their parents at the end of the hunt. These bald eagles will mate for life, and with hunting now banned, their numbers across North America are at last rising strongly. The onset of winter brings with it a far harsher life for all the creatures of the Arctic. Caribou now have to find nourishment from the frozen bark and lichens of the woodlands. They've become adept at digging through the snow to find vegetation. And the beautiful snowy owl uses his camouflage feathers to escape predators. Right across the Arctic oceans, seawater turns to ice overnight. As these seas begin to freeze over, many other species have to adapt. Walrus begin gathering near ice floes. They've been equipped with 2 huge tusks, greatly enlarged canine teeth, which they use to defend themselves. This specimen puts his tusks to good use, lodging them into the ice to hold him steady, thus allowing him to sleep. As the ice thickens still further, that lord of the north, the polar bear, is forced to change his hunting tactics. His quarry are the many species of seals that haul out on the ice. This seal wears the freshly bloodied scars of a bear attack. The bear remains close by. Foiled in his first bid, he eyes off another seal and its newly born pup. They've surfaced through a hole in the ice and are now exposed, vulnerable to attack. Spotting them, the bear charges off in pursuit. His enthusiasm is too late. This time, the seals have escaped. They've swum to a weakened hollow below the surface, which the bear now tries to smash into. Using all of his weight and power, he repeatedly crunches down on the ice. It's a tactic which eventually pays off. For the next hour, the bear will devour as much of the carcass as he can. It's a feast he'll sleep off, content that he at least will survive in this wildest Arctic.